Hello again. My name's Gabe Zollner. Hey, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I like looking at the pieces of the puzzle. Spent a little time looking at the camcorder, the dash cam of Officer Michael Slager's police vehicle. You know, when he pulled over Walter Scott. I'm going to attach a link where you're going to see the video I'm making reference to. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a look closely at some of the points that I'm going to discuss. I got to believe a lot of us at one time or another have been pulled over by the police. And when you see the lights go on behind you, what do? Well, you pull over to the right. That's what you do. You just pull over to the right. Notice, in this instance, Walter Scott doesn't pull over to the right. No. He makes a left-hand turn into the parking lot of a auto parts distributor. And he drives a little further and he goes towards the back of the lot where he pulls over. That's number one. No one would make a left-hand turn with a policeman behind you. You would pull over to the right. When the police officer approaches the car, he doesn't ask common questions that they generally ask. Are there any weapons in the vehicle? Are there any drugs in the vehicle? None of that's even mentioned. You're then going to notice the officer goes back towards his squad car. And there's silence. He's not radioing in information on Walter Scott's driver's license. Now, he could be looking at his computer, so that is a possibility. That might explain the silence. What you'll then notice is as Walter Scott goes to exit the vehicle, he's told by Michael Slager to stay in the vehicle. And then a few minutes later, Walter makes a break for it. And then you hear the officer, Michael Slager, chasing him. You don't hear any commands coming from the officer, like stop, police, none of that. Halt, halt, none of that. All you hear is heavy breathing. And then you'll hear the word taser. And he's referring to his taser. And then you'll hear, put your hands behind your back. That's after he's been supposedly killed. How come there wasn't any orders from the officer to stop, halt, halt? None of that. Absolutely none of that. Now, what's interesting is when you take a look at the video again of the officer's dash cam, there is something that is missing. There's actually two things that are missing. What's missing is the date and the time that the event supposedly took place. Now, what I did was I called the North Charleston Police Department in North Carolina. And I asked the duty officer, and the question that I asked was, when your police vehicle's dash camera recorders are rolling, other than the image, what appears on the screen? And the officer said the date and the time of the event. And I thanked the officer for providing me with that information. You see, that's missing in a dash cam video, the date and the time of the event. What does that tell you? Well, it tells me this is similar to these other false flags that this administration likes to present to the American people. Without the date and the time stamp, the video really has no value. Not so much in this instance, but in general stops. You don't know when it took place. You don't know what time of the day it took place. You don't know which day it took place. It's pretty much worthless. When you look at all the pieces of the puzzle, you get a different kind of picture, do you not? You also take a look, and I said this in previous videos, but if you missed them, when Michael Slager shoots his weapon, he's shooting a Glock 21, which is a .45 caliber weapon. Now, if you go Google any big game hunting, watch what happens to like a water buffalo or a bison. When they get hit, it's like the earth was pulled from underneath their feet. We're talking a 2,000-pound animal. They go down like a pile of bricks. Google big bear hunting with a 500 Smith & Wesson. You got a 2,500-pound grizzly bear with one bullet, falls like a pile of rocks. Boom, they're down. Yet we see Walter Scott, who according to the initial coroner's report, was hit multiple times in his back with a .45. That would never happen. The first shot would have blown Walter Scott right off of his feet if it hit him in the back, because he's running in the same direction that the bullet would have pushed him. The whole thing's ridiculous. Watching Officer Michael Slager shoot the weapon, he's jerking it back. He's actually pulling it back. There's no muzzle lift. The gun's not coming up. You can't not have the muzzle come up when you shoot a .45. They did a lousy job staging this. And once again, without a date and without a time on the video camera recorder, that wasn't done with a police camera recorder. That's all staged. Also, watch when Officer Michael Slager approaches what's supposed to be the body of Walter Scott. He walks up slowly, like he's strolling in the park, not like he's cautious. Doesn't have his gun pointed. He's got his gun at his side. He's just walking. And then when he gets to the body, you see him drop the taser. The whole thing is a joke. It's a sad joke, because the emotions of a lot of people are impacted. But that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to impact the emotions of a lot of people. I don't know if Obama was behind this, but I have no doubt that his administration is behind this. This might all have been orchestrated by Valerie Jarrett. I really have no idea. But without the date and the time in the video, it's not a police video. No one again will make a left-hand turn when a policeman's behind you. You're not going to turn into a shopping area for automotive parts. You're going to pull over to the right. He doesn't. Walter Scott pulls over to the left. And once he's in the lot, he keeps driving towards the back of the lot. Again, that's not something that someone would do. And we don't hear Michael Slager making a radio call asking if in fact the person that he's got his license from has any warrants. But then again, he could have been typing into his computer. But I don't think so. I just think they made a whole lot of mistakes. Watch the video. Look for the things that I just mentioned. And let me know what you think. You know what I think.